Hi, Coach.
How we doing?
Good, you?
Doing great. Happy Halloween. Hope everybody's doing good. Obviously excited to go play another Pac-12 opponent. Second road game, opportunity to clean up, see some good outfits out there. That's awesome. But yeah, it's should be fun for our guys to go on the road, go get an opportunity to perform. They had a good day of work today. Excited to build off of that tomorrow.
Eric, on the left.
Looks like Seven McGee maybe is not with the team anymore. Is there any comment on that?
Yeah, he's no longer with us. Wish him nothing but the best moving forward, but I won't speak on it any more than that.
Right here in the front, James.
Wanted to get a status update on Chase Cota and Taki Taimani and Stephen Jones for this week.
Yeah, to be determined. All those guys are working to get back. Don't know how long some of those will go. So we'll kind of wait and see. Don't want to guess too early.
Right here on the right, Zach.
Bennett told us last week that he felt that with your third down defense, that when it got better, he felt like it would click. It would be drastically better. Do you think you saw that last week against Cal?
I think we saw moments of it. I think there's still certainly room for improvement for us moving forward, but we definitely did some good things.
On the right, Rob. Second row.
Forsyth in particular was frustrated with the start. I'm sure a lot of you guys were frustrated with the start recently. I think, if you look at the Washington State game, if you look at the Cal game, there's been some slow starts on the road. What's the way to overcome that? What's the way to try to start better on the road?
Yeah, try to figure out ways to kind of recreate that more for us in practice. I know that's something I always say, but we're really trying to relate that to more periods in practice. We've been really good in the middle of games, right? And something we have to improve on is the way we start and the way we finish games. So that's something we're going to focus on. Try to detail those periods of practice for us, and let those carry over.
Back right, Matt.
With 7 wins in a row, how do you feel like this team's handled fighting off complacency, not overlooking opponents and looking ahead?
Yeah, I think they've done a good job of just focusing on the task at hand and continually looking for opportunities to get better. That's kind of been our mantra from day one, and our guys have done a good job of accepting that.
Front left, James.
Was Jeff Bass's targeting appealed?
Yes.
Was it successful?
No.
And understanding the call, just for clarity's purposes, is that more because of the lowering of the head to protect Jeff than it is the offensive player?
Yeah, I think this one was strictly based on how he was trying to tackle and not using proper technique.
Right here in second row, Eric.
You were kind of admittedly a little bit maybe somber, maybe not quite as excited after the game in the media session. I wonder, were you trying to get anything across there to the team, and kind of what's the last couple of days been?
I'm not like a hidden message guy or anything. I just thought we could have played better, and if I feel like we can play better, I don't mind telling anybody that. But no hidden message. Just I thought we have an opportunity to go play better, and at times we did that, but didn't play a complete one like I thought we could.
Front right, Zach.
Since the Stanford game, your guys' penalties have been down both in number and in yardage. What do you attribute that to?
I'd like to say it's because of the focus and attention that we put on it. That's probably not the only piece, but that's certainly probably part of it. We've definitely had more attention to detail. That being said, I think we stalled out some drives and had some moments where we had penalties again that hurt us, so we're not there yet.
Back to Rob, second row.
You mentioned being good in the middle of the games. You guys are the best mid-late team in the country. What does that mean to you? I mean, just how much importance do you put on that and the success? How much does that attribute to, pre-game tactical planning, things like that? How much of it is just guys taken seriously, needing to go into halftime well, and then pushing the right buttons at halftime and coming out strong?
It's a combination. I talked to our team today, and I asked them, "Are the points in the middle of the game worth double?" And they said no, right? And I said, "Okay, exactly. So just that we're really good in the middle, that doesn't matter if we can't be better at the beginning and be better at the end." We certainly put a lot of focus on situations. We coach them a lot. I think our guys understand what we're trying to do with time. I mean, I know it didn't work out on Saturday, but you can see we're trying to get the ball back there at the very end of the half to turn that into an opportunity to potentially get points, where a lot of teams, I think, would just kneel it out. We're looking to be aggressive and look for a chance to potentially get a couple more points there, and we're always going to push that envelope, given the opportunity when it makes sense and it's safe for us to do so. So we've been good in the middle 8. We want to be better in the first quarter and better in the fourth.
On the right, Coach Lanning.
It's like looking into a mirror. Looking at Colorado.
That's great.
Looking at Colorado, obviously they've had a coaching change. do you see anything different from the start, from how they've been playing the start of the season to more recently since the change?
I think they've been, at times you can see them playing with some resiliency, some new life, and I think that happens sometimes with change. I think Coach Sanford's done a really good job of trying to rally the troops, and obviously they came up with a big win there against Cal, in a real battle. So you see the tough, you see the fight. I just got done watching some special teams film. I think their field goal block unit goes hard every single rep. And that's one of the first things that I like to watch as a coach is, okay, how hard do they go on special teams? And they're really well coached on special teams, do a really good job there. But yeah, you definitely see some fight in these guys, and I know the results haven't been what they always wanted, but this team hasn't mailed it in by any means. They're still working really hard.
Back right, Matt.
Without Coda in the second half, how do you feel like the guys that got reps in his place performed, and just who maybe feels that next level of reps with if he can't go for the next game or so?
Yeah, we saw a few different guys. Dante Thornton had a bigger role there in the second half. Chris Hudson got to move positions a little bit, and I thought that was really positive to see him be able to change positions within a game and have some success and not have a lot of mental errors and busts. He was able to go out there and do something he didn't necessarily practice as much during the week and execute at a high level. But we'll continue to see, more players, Delgado and a few others moving forward. Depending on how long that looks like, Chase will be not with us.
Front left, James.
Similarly, on the defensive side, with Jeff out for at least the first half, and Colorado a bit more of a running team in all likelihood. Keith Brown and Jackson LeDuc, since they against passing teams had seen less reps. What's their role this week with Jeff out and probably more of a running offense?
Yeah, I think those guys got an opportunity to make an impact on this game for sure. I think we'll see those guys that are able to help us will have a chance to come in and make an impact.
Second row middle, Jared.
It's been a bit of a QB carousel for Colorado at times this year. Just what have you seen from that position group and so far in film, and what have you seen so far from the offense as well?
Yeah, I think they're obviously trying to establish an identity in what they want to do and accomplish. They want to set up the run game and use the run game to set up some of the shots downfield. They're a team that takes a lot more shots, down the field. I think they're averaging 6 to 7 shots down the field a game, which is a higher percentage than a lot of the teams that we've played. And when they hit on those, they can have a lot of success. So regardless of who the quarterback's been, that's something that they want to be part of the identity of what they do, whether it's a 7-man, 6-man protection to really throw the ball down the field. I think you see some more of that. And then they have a variety of run game that they use to help set that up.
Second row left, Eric.
Keanu, I'm just curious on what your takeaways having watched the film. How do you think he filled in? This is, I think, a career high in snaps.
Yeah, I think he did some really good things. He's continued to grow as a player. And when his number was called, he was ready to go out there and play at a high level. He did a great job. I'm looking for him to continue to grow in his role.
Back row right, or back right, Matt. Sorry.
When you scout Colorado's defense, just what is the things that you're seeing pop up, and what are the tendencies that you're looking to maybe to hit on with the team?
They're more pressure oriented at times. You'll see a good amount of zone pressures where they'll bring more than you can actually block, but that also means they're going to be a little bit short at times in coverage as well. They do it. They're aggressive. They'll play more man. They're really solid at corner outside. They play more man than a lot of teams will see on early downs. And they have some big bodies up front, right? There's some real size and girth up there. So it'll be a fun team to attack.
Front left, James.
Red zone offense was obviously not as successful as you'd hoped for it to be. Your evaluation of it, was it more execution than anything this past week? And if that's the case, how exactly do you go about fixing that when it's either holding on to a ball or setting your feet or whatever the case may be?
A combination of things, ultimately more self-inflicted wounds than anything. Things that we can do better is decision making. We made a wrong decision at one point, a play later that leads to an interception, drop ball, right? Also had a penalty, on an early drive that bumped us out of the red area. So just can't really hurt ourselves as we get down there. And we've had some hiccups earlier in the year and did a really good job of attacking those throughout the year later on. I think as we continue to play, we have to continue to improve in those areas.
Eric, second on left.
Broad question on special teams and how you think it's impacted, especially the last couple of weeks with the onside kick and the block kick. How has that kind of come together for you guys recently?
We always felt like when we got here that we could change the game in special teams in certain areas of the way we played. And I feel like some of that, all that value and all that time that we've put into it, some of it's starting to pay off and looking forward to continue to pay off moving forward.
Back to James.
I'm sure a pretty emotional week for Christian Gonzalez going against his former team. It's not something that's that unusual, but it does come up at times. Just particularly off this last week where he had quite a bit of success, had that block on the field goal. Just what you've seen from him and how you hope he approaches this week.
It's not how I hope. It's how I know. I love Christian being part of our team. He's been. You don't know when you bring a guy in that's been somewhere else what they're going to be like, and we've been really fortunate to be able to bring great players in that have been of other organizations. But what makes Christian special is he has phenomenal character, right? And I know he wants to go perform well at a high level. To think that he doesn't acknowledge where he's going to play this week, I'm sure he's aware, a heightened awareness of that. But that doesn't change the way he prepares. That doesn't change the way he works during the week.
Rob?
As you continue to win, you continue to get more and more attention. Obviously, and the playoff rankings come out tomorrow. Will you watch? How are you going to address that with your team, if at all? How do you deal with that added voice amongst all the chatter?
Control what you can control. I'm not going to spend any time worrying about that.
Back right, Matt?
When you look at this road trip, I don't think anyone on this team's been there besides Gonzalez. Just how do you fight the elevation? How do you fight the attitude of a team trying to make a big upset? There's nothing really for them to lose in this type of a game.
Yeah, you just go out there and you try to play to the best of your ability. And right, we still, I think our team knows that we still have better football to play, and that's the approach, right? And you always like going on the road to prove you can do it. It's a lot easier to do it at home. To be able to go somewhere else and perform at a high level, it takes a lot of focus and attention to detail.
James?
It seemed like Steve Stevens was in position for a lot of plays this past week. I know in the box scores just a couple, but it looked like obviously he broke up the one touchdown pass there. What did you think of how he did this past weekend?
I think he had some shining moments. I think he had some that he'd love to have back. But overall, Steve's played really consistent for us throughout the year. I think there's a couple guys that have done a good job there. BA had a second interception there in the back end. And has done a good job back there for us as well. Jamal's done a good job back there for us as well at times. So I think every one of those guys have moments of, where they've been pleased and then some opportunities for growth.
Last two, James and Eric.
Big picture, overarchingly, how do you define success in a game like this? Because if players pay attention to standings or statistics or all sorts of things, there'll be a lot of chatter about Colorado's relative standing and struggles this season. How do you define success on this weekend?
Win.
Eric, last question.
Makes Andrew Boyle a good candidate to handle punts and also kickoffs?
I think it's something we'll continue to assess. Obviously, we've shuffled around a lot at the punt position, trying to find some consistency there, and I think we'll continue to probably do that. Andrew's done a good job with a lot of things that we put on his plate. I think he wishes he could have a couple of those punts back, and we'll probably continue to evaluate that position until we find some clarity there.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. Happy Halloween.
Halloween plans.
See you, Coach.
I did remember one time, one year I dressed as